Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Shout Out Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here, once again. You know, I was I was not looking forward to today because it was going to be another Beavis and Butthead reboot episode, and those are painful. Those are like stabbing my ears with like sewing needles, like just maybe making a video called one guy in his ears and then like just stabbing sewing needles into both ears for hours and hours, which I've had ear problems before. Like there was this one year where I just kept on having clogged ears over and over and over again, and it was the worst. I mean, it was almost like worse than like having a toothache or having a bad headache or a stomach ache. It was terrible. And that's what watching these new Beavis and Butthead episodes has been like, because they're so anti-Beavis and Butthead, it's not even funny. But when I looked at the special website, I saw there is no Beavis and Butthead episode today. So I guess they're taking a break for Labor Day or some reason, or something like that. Or maybe that's it. You know, they never really came out and said it's going to have this many episodes and it's going to be this long. They never did that. So I don't know. We'll have to see next week if I'm going to have to suffer more through modern Beavis and Butthead. And I've been busy working on the film. Yesterday I was going to start making another sequence, but I just did not feel right. I felt like I was really just worn out, and I was tired, and I was sore from working out and moving all these things around and things, and I just didn't get to it. And so I'm going to have to do a quicker review than usual today because I need to get to work. And I got to film the sequence. And if you guys have ever seen a Frankenstein movie, it's going to be a very long and hard sequence to do, especially because of the fact that I don't really have any money anymore to buy new props and things to make the scenes right. And so I'm having to change the scenes around and change sort of what happens and make it more implied than shown, which is sad because it wouldn't have been very much to get, like, you know, I needed a skeleton and stuff like that. But anyways, that's just for people who have been watching the channel lately. You know, if you're new to this channel, I'm sorry, but I just feel the urge to update people in case they're curious or they're wondering or anything. So I am here today to review a Goosebumps episode. And I already have like 5 reviews that are going to be airing when I'm shooting with my actress when she's here. So this is just another one of those reviews that I could have put to upload with those, but instead I'm going to do it today. And I also watched a really good movie, and I might do a review of that too, and put that as one of the videos that uploads during that time or something. And then also Cobra Kai came out today, and some good looking new movies came out too. So I have a lot to review and a lot to do. So this Goosebumps episode, Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. I really like this episode, kinda. I say kinda because as soon as you read the book, this episode becomes trash. Like, the book is just a masterpiece on every level. It's one of the darker Goosebumps books. It's scary. There's not really anybody to help the main character at all, which is unusual. Usually, you know, like with Phantom of the Auditorium, you have the group of kids. They help out. They help find who the Phantom is. You have, the drama teacher who, even though she's a huge bitch, she still wants the kids to be safe, and she has their well-being in mind. In this episode, Piano Lessons Can Be Murder, there's none of that at all. It's similar to Welcome to Camp Nightmare, I guess, where it's like the main character is all alone. And it's all about this kid who moves into a new house, and there's a ghost in the house, and she plays piano with this piano in the basement. And then at the same time, he meets a girl next door, a cute girl, and he likes her. She plays the piano, and so she encourages him to start playing piano himself, and he goes to this place called the Shriek School for music or something, and it's basically all about that. And everything goes wrong. It's the book is like The Shining. It takes place in the wintertime. It's very much like The Shining. It is so good. It is so dark. It is so entertaining. The book is like just on another level. The episode, however, strips away a lot of what made the book good, which is weird, because it feels like, why? Like, the episode is still fine, but like, why did they have to strip away what made the book good? That's the big question for this episode. So the pros would be, I really like the main kid. I thought that he was a great protagonist, one of the better ones so far. You know, he really embodies the character perfectly, where the character in the book, you know, he's this adventurous kid who goes around talking to himself and playing games and pretending he's on secret spy missions. And this kid, he perfectly embodies the character. Perfectly. I mean, he's exactly like how you'd expect, how you'd visualize that character from the book. The parents... Okay, that will be a con. Okay, never mind. Let's not get to the parents yet. And also, I will say that the girl is nice. I mean, it was funny that, like, with all these books, they would do these little race swaps here and there. Like, this is one where I think it's another instance where the original character was a redhead and then they tokenized her. But the thing is that they're such small characters that it's like, who cares? You know, it's not like she's like an important character and they're ruining her character and changing it. It's like she could really be any race. And so I really didn't care about that, but I thought she was nice. And I think this is one of the only episodes or anything in Goosebumps where she's sort of like a love interest to him. Like, he definitely is just playing the piano so that he can get some poontang. I mean, that's basically... I mean, he has shitty parents, too. That's another reason why he starts playing, and has something to do with them being shitty. But she's the main reason, and I thought she was good, too. And I say that because it's very unique. All these Goosebumps episodes, they just have these girls and guys be friends. And you sit there thinking, like, is this kid gay or something? Like, why isn't this kid at least, like, showing some sort of interest in the girl that he hangs out with all the time? And in this episode, it definitely seems like he's interested in her. So I thought that was kind of cool, a little thing there. But then it will also get to a con, because in the book, she is in it way more. And there's a part where... I don't want to give anything away, but there's some interesting parts in the book with her character. She comes in the story once in a while, and it's really a shame that they didn't give the actress the same amount of scenes that she got in the book. I guess it's just for time's sake. Another pro would be the villains. You have Dr. Shriek, who's probably one of the scariest villains of the series. He is so creepy. He looks like Santa Claus, but there's some really uncomfortable moments where, like, it's really creepy. Like, I say that a lot with it, but I mean it with this guy. Seriously, 100%. he sits there and he's telling this kid how to play the piano. And then the kid starts biting his nails, and he has like a breakdown. It's so, ugh. And then there's this part where he starts grabbing his hands and like feeling them around and talking about how much he loves his hands, and he chases him, and oh God, that scared me as a kid. This episode, it was harder to watch because this guy was so scary to me. Because you could definitely imagine somebody like this existing. And somebody like this, like a crazy, psychopathic, like, music instructor. And then you have the janitor guy. And the janitor, he did a great job at acting. I did talk about how I didn't really care for his character much in the book, but he really is evil. And they really don't demonstrate how evil he is in this episode. Like, they focus more attention on the ghost woman at home than they focus on this janitor guy, Mr. Toggle. And yes, that is his name, Mr. Toggle. And another thing is, like, they have that typical line in Goosebumps where they say, he can build anything, which is just code for, okay, somebody's a robot. Because that means, oh, he can build a human, too. Ooh, just like I'm gonna do today. Ha 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 ha. Synchronicity. Thank you, ghosts that are living here with me in real life. You guys see what I mean? How weird this shit is? I mean, you see how much it's like affecting on a day-to-day basis. Like, this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. But we really, it's weird because they have all the main elements. It's like you have all the elements to make a chocolate chip cookie, but then you choose not to put butter in it. And you choose not to put chocolate chips in it. And you say, you know what? That's too many calories. Let's not have chocolate chip cookies. Let's just have cookies. That's what this episode is like. It's like you want to have all the components of a chocolate chip cookie if you're going to make chocolate chip cookies. And instead, they're stripping away all the ingredients to just the bare basics. The bare basics are good, but they're not good enough because that's not what the story was in the book. In the story, you have all the elements that add up together to make a good story. You don't just have some elements and then leave other elements out because, I don't know, time, or you're too lazy, or you don't know how to fit it in. I don't know. Like, so, another thing is, okay, we're still on the pros, I forgot. It's an entertaining episode, I guess. That's the only other pro. Now let's talk about the cons, because there's a lot of cons. Number one, this does not take place in the winter time, which is a big... Oh, wait. Sorry, I forgot one more pro. In the book, near the end, he wants to stop going to this piano school because he thinks it's creepy. There's something bad there. The ghost is warning me. I should listen to this ghost woman who turns out to be a piano teacher herself. I should listen to her. And his mom in the book says, sorry, Jerry, because that's his name in the book and the episode. Why did I say in the book? She said, well, you have to go one more time because I already paid for that lesson. And it's like, this kid is saying that he doesn't feel safe at this shriek school. Like, in real life, he could be molested and he's not admitting it, and he's just saying, I don't feel safe there. And she's like just ignoring him because I already paid for another lesson. Like, bitch, fuck off. And so she drives him in the middle. This shriek school, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of Nowheresville. And in the book, you know why. Because this guy takes people there and he kills them. And he keeps their hands. And he's killed like hundreds of people in this school in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, yeah, I wonder why. Because he has all this seclusion and this space to do whatever he wants without anybody noticing, any eyewitnesses She drops him off at the school, and she says, "Bye-bye, I'll be back when the lesson's over." And she's leaving him at the school for 3+ hours, and it's like, this is bad. This is bad parenting. Like, if he doesn't feel safe at this school, and she just, like, abandons him, she says, "I'm gonna go shopping now." And it's like, oh. In the episode, they have a much better excuse where, instead of that, it's actually kind of a good message where it is still kind of bad parenting, and it's kind of shitty, because, it's like, oh, they don't believe their son. He might be getting molested. Who cares? If he doesn't feel safe at this school with these people there in the middle of Nowheresville, why would they be forcing him to go there? Like, it's just really bad. Really, really bad looking. But in the episode, they say, you need to confront your fears. Just give it one more chance. You don't like going to this place, and that's fine. We'll stop taking you there, but just give it one more chance. And that I kind of like that. I thought that was a much better explanation, even though it was still a shitty explanation, and they still abandoned him there in the middle of Nowheresville. It was a better way of saying, like, okay, this kid needs to go back there, and this is the reason why he's going to go back there. Because if he didn't, then the story just wouldn't have happened, right? Like, the Mr. Toggle was not going to come to Jerry's house and kill him there. He had to make sure that he would be in the piano school. Which, that is something very odd, is that all these people go missing there. How do they explain people going missing there? Like, how do they just say... I guess they could just blame it on bad parenting. Like, he could say, "Oh, the lesson was over, and then he just walked off, and he said he was walking home. And since you weren't there, you were too busy buying bologna and minestrone at the store. He's gone now. Ma'am and sir, sorry. Maybe next time. Bye-bye." And then he closes the door. "Help me! Cheep, 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 cheep." With a knife. He's like, okay, time to make some hands. Some beautiful, luscious hands. He's not going to use the hands to jerk off with. He's just going to use them to play piano. Which, that's another thing. You have to wonder, like, this guy, he's crazy. This Mr. Toggle, he is insane. And you have to wonder, how did he get that way? It's because of his mom. And I can't remember if she was his mom or she was another student there who was killed. I can't remember. But in the episode, that's a weird noise. It sounded like a helicopter farting. We have helicopters. Oh, look, I can see it right in front of me. Fucking retarded helicopter with green all over it. This is another thing, by the way, if you guys have been paying attention to making the movie, the story ongoing, which there's so much stuff that it could fill an entire book all on its own. But that's another thing about the sound here, and why I really have to voice over everything, is because there's constantly planes flying around, helicopters, there's trucks that roar by, there's motorcycles. It's basically impossible to go like 30 minutes without interfering noises around here. So, anyways, you have to wonder why Mr. Toggle is so crazy. Because he's killing... They show at the end this very kiddish version of what was in the book, where you have these bloody stubs of hands playing the piano. I mean, very gross and sort of scary to think about. And they don't have any blood in the episode. That's another big failure. I mean, they couldn't just have like a little blood. They couldn't have like some... I don't understand it. Like, they took away so many elements of what made the book good. There was another really good part in the book where... Oh yeah, and in the book too, the whole time, well, okay, I'm not just gonna keep on explaining the similarity. There's the fucking farting helicopter again. See what I mean? Like, how do you shoot sound with this type of environment? With these type of retards flying around? I mean, what is that person doing? Are they just, like, patrolling the neighborhood? Like, this is just so abnormal to just be flying around here and just, like, acting like, I don't know, like they're looking in the field for something. It's really queer. I mean, guys, this is fucking irritating. It's just flying back and forth like it's fucking Balloon Tower Defense 5, where you get the helicopter tower to fly around and patrol the same area. Ugh. Now you guys see another thing I have to deal with this fucking sound issue. And I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing out the hilariosity of it. But anyways, another con of the episode is definitely the parents. These are the worst adult characters so far in the show. You have the mom who doesn't believe her son when he says there's ghosts in the house. And that's a weird thing. Like, I would hope that at least people would think that there might be a possibility of ghosts. Like, aliens is like, I would say 70% of people should believe in aliens. I think that 95% of people should believe in ghosts, though. Because it's like, why not? Like, why do you have to close your mind off to things existing? Like, it doesn't mean you have to, like, focus your entire life on thinking about those things existing, but to just acknowledge them would be nice. And neither parent believes their own son when he says, there's a ghost in this house. There's a ghost in this house. And it's really shitty. And you have the dad, this dad, I want to beat him senseless with the piano. Like, I just want to turn into the Hulk and pick up the piano and just start going bam, 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 bam. Just smack him across the face with this piano until it breaks into 1,000 pieces. And then fucking crush his head with the piano too, because he is such a shitty father. The way that he talks about his son, the way that he's standing there with the mom and he's saying, our son talks to himself. Is that normal? And it's like, what the fuck? Like, is that normal? Our son talks to himself. He plays games with himself. You know, he's a kid. Like, why isn't he outside playing sports? Why isn't he outside doing things that I want him to do? And it's like, fuck off. Like, this is a terrible father in every way, shape, or form. And he's like, he needs to get a hobby of some kind. And it's like, bruh, you're the guy standing around with your little fucking cup of coffee with fucking probably caffeine free with some extra soy milk in it, and you're talking about, like, he needs to get a hobby. Like, bruh, why don't you get a hobby? Like, why don't you have sex with your wife or do something fun like that? Like, why are you just standing around talking about Jerry while he's off, like, pretending that he's going on a spy mission with his cat, and he's like 12 years old, and you're treating it like, oh my god, this is like he's like in his 40s, and he talks to himself? It's like, he's a kid! And just, I hated the father in this episode. And then, of course, when he sees the ghost at nighttime, what does his dad want to do? He wants to take his son to a psychiatrist. Like, this is how bad of a parent he really is. And I just can't stand it. It is so horrible and negative. And it's like, you're trying to enjoy this episode, and you have, like, these horrible, evil, nasty parents that this kid has to live with. And it's just an embarrassment. It is so cringeworthy to see these bad parents, because they're even worse in the book. In the book, they actually send him to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist talks to him about ghosts, and it's like, this is so cringeworthy. Like, if somebody sent me to a psychiatrist because I'm talking about ghosts all the time, I don't know what I would do. Like, just, it is so, it's just bizarre. It's like, this is really weird. Like, psychiatrists, they have to deal with real problems, right? Like, they have to deal with people who want to commit suicide. They have to deal with weirdos today who, they want to have a sex change at like 5 years old, because their parents abused them and let them think that they should be allowed to do that. They have to deal with real problems, and instead they're dealing with a kid who literally sees ghosts in his house. Like, is that normal? I don't think that's normal. If it is normal, maybe that's why there's all these school shooters. I mean, maybe if the psychiatrists spent more attention into actually doing their job and talking to people who could potentially be school shooters, then maybe you wouldn't have like as many massacres and things like that. Maybe you should just say, you know what, kid, ghosts are real, and sorry about that, but as long as she's not physically hurting you, then have fun, bye-bye. Tell your parents that I said fuck off and never come back. That's what I would do if I was the psychiatrist in that situation, because like or maybe what I would do is I would say, you know what, son, I believe you. Your parents are a bunch of dipshits, and you just have to kind of not tell your parents about it because they're too retarded to think about reality. They're too retarded to acknowledge the existence of the supernatural. Remember how in the X-Files, Mulder was persecuted heavily for believing in the supernatural and doing all that. That's what you have to be like. You have to be like Mulder, and you have to just put up with it. And so anyways, God, I got so off track. I don't care. Whatever. Other cons would be the ending is so lame and tame compared to the books. In the book, all of the people who are forced to sit there playing piano, all of their ghosts come, and they all have these bloody stubs where their hands are, and they all carry Mr. Toggle into the forest and they massacre him to death. Like, they kill him dead. They probably ripped him apart and did things that, like, I can't even say on YouTube. Like, that's how dark it was in the book. And then it was a positive thing, though. Like, they said that there were people of all ages, like hundreds of people, men, women, children, who this guy killed, and so that he could have their hands to play piano. And it's like, ooh, this is creepy. Very, very creepy. It's missing so many elements from the book that I would just say that that's the biggest flaw. Like, out of everything, you could just summarize it with not the book. Like, that's the only thing you need to say. Just go read the book. Because it's missing all these crucial elements. Like, there was this really creepy scene in the book where he was having like a nightmare that the ghost woman was forcing him to play piano until like his fingers were bleeding or something. It was terrifying, and it was scary. And there was a lot of darker stuff in the book. The book was just so much more effective on every level. And the winter setting really added to it. Like, to just change it to the summer is like a complete, like, WTF. And then the ending is even queerer because he starts playing baseball. Like, that's his hobby. And it's like, I don't know, like, you have to think, like, this character, he's such a zombie that, like, why does he even have to do any of this stuff? Like, if he just wants to sit around role-playing as James Bond, like, why don't you just let him do that? Like, why does he have to, like, do something like playing baseball for you to consider that, like, his hobby? Like, maybe his hobby is acting, and maybe he's just, like, doing these impersonations so that he can become an actor or something. Because that's what I used to do all the time. I would just run around the house impersonating all sorts of characters, just every different type of character you could think of. And oh my God, this review is long. That was not intentional at all. I don't know how it got this long. I blame it on the farting helicopter, though. But I would do this all the time. That's all I would do. Like, I would either sit, watch movies, and color, or go on the computer, or run around with only my underwear on, doing impersonations. And and in this episode, it's like, oh no, he's got to play baseball. Even though I guess he really doesn't care about it. I mean, it doesn't seem like he cares. So it's really not a happy ending in the slightest. I would give the episode a B-. It's very close to being a C+ like Phantom of the Auditorium, but it is very entertaining. The villains are very good. It's an enjoyable episode, but it pales in comparison to the book. So please like this video, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, everybody. I've got to go film now.